Welcome to Center of Light. Had a long intro, I know, but I'm doing a few things. Always technology. I'm just a technology nut. I love technology. But we cannot forget about Center of Light, spiritual technologies. You are the greatest piece of computer hardware there is in the entire universe. Center of Light Technologies. Tonight is Center of Light Meal. Meal? Are you serious, Keith? This is about food? Well, sort of. Center of Light Meal. So I'm sleeping this morning, like we all sleep in the morning, or wherever you sleep. And as soon as I woke up, as soon as I got stable and conscious of the room, I hear O.A.T.S. You heard me right. O.A.T.S. O.A.T.S. as in food. O.A.T.S. I knew it was a prompting, but I didn't know what. So I followed it. I followed the feeling and the thought deeper within myself and trusted that it would unfold. And unfold it did. So, all right, a presentation about oats, really? And then the thought occurred to me to break the word oats down into an acronym. And what came to me immediately, the last word was a little tough, the easiest to see. O.A.T.S, an acronym. Opportunity, abundance, transformation, soul. Tonight is Center of Light Meal. And we're going to eat our oats. And you're going to eat every last bite of it, young man. Then what came to me, as I said, out of making oats an acronym was opportunity, abundance, transformation, soul. So I started kind of feeling out what this presentation might be like, what I might do. So I had those 4 acronyms. That's it. That wasn't it at all. Wasn't it at all. Sounded good. I could have done it. My day started to unfold as I kind of felt out these acronyms. All right, I get it. Opportunity. I love opportunity. Abundance always comes through opportunity. And it transforms us when it lands on our head and seats itself in the heart. And it'll touch you all the way from your bones to your soul. I got it. Yeah, I got it. Let's do it. So working on my technology today, I just upped my speed by twice, which I should never have a problem again unless there's a serious problem. So I'm outputting to all these different worldwide platforms. Going through the dance with the technician today, the agent, Comcast, Xfinity, customer service agent. Out of nowhere, I hear this woman, or this person, I think it's a woman, carrying on outside. Something said, grab your phone. So I grabbed my phone. I'm going to show you that video later. And of course, when you eat oats, what is the image we relate to eating oats? The American staple. I'm here to tell you, the syrup you want is maple. But what else best describes the eating and the meal, Center of Light meal of oats, other than Quaker oats? So I decided to look up the word Quaker, or the definition of Quaker, or what are the Quakers. Then everything I thought was going to be what I was going to use as a platform to launch from for tonight's presentation was shattered by that woman outside, as well as my looking at the definition in about what are Quakers. Then I was beside myself. Thank God, finally, my prayer was heard. I was beside myself. I was further deeper within myself. And something unfolded, and I want to share that with you tonight. And from this point forth, it's going to continue to unfold as I fashion all these elements that came into my divine conscious play. Today, I'm looking at my software. Everything looks amazing with all these outputs. I am grateful. Let me look at my notes. Hello, Sana. Hello, Kim Gary. Everyone, as Kim suggested, please share this beautiful workout. It's my heart. My heart's beautiful. Your heart's beautiful. Let's join forces. This is what it's about. It's about, you will understand what I mean by me using this word friends shortly. Friends. It's about friends. Lavender Soul Music is going to be playing tonight. My spiritual band consisting of members of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. All 3 albums for $20. I used to sell them 20 per. Now it's all 3 for 20. Also, Homecoming Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, my bestseller, my new bestseller, you can now find on Amazon.com. Keith Anthony Blanchard. Homecoming Crossing the Bridge to the Soul. If you read this book, 30 Years of My Life, compressed, desktop, shortcut, icon, you could also use the same link to give me a review of some stars. Thank you. Let me look at my notes finally, and we're going to get down into the beeswax. Hello, everyone on Pulse Talk Radio in the UK. Late night you are, you vampire. Thanks to Carl War. I want to acknowledge Mr. Robert Harrison, as well as someone going by the name of Anonymous on YouTube. Bro, sis, you need to reveal yourself. Let me look at my final notes. Pulse Talk Radio. PulseTalkRadio.com. Opening page. Pow! Video right there. Phenomenal. It's paranormal, spiritual, psychics, teachers of all sorts, and some really good music. Yesterday I was listening to Pulse Talk, setting up for a presentation, or day before yesterday. Midge Uri or Ur, If I Was, never heard it before, loved it. O.A.T.S, rock and roll star. Survivor, Memphis boy, Jimmy Jameson. Van Halen, Running with the Devil. The sound is amazing. It's high definition sound. It is pristine, which means original condition, unspoiled. For those in the UK who are watching, listening to me from the Pulse Talk Radio platform, go to send me an email at keithanthonyblanchard@gmail.com, or you can find me, you know how to find me, Keith Anthony Blanchard. Use all the keywords and say, I am from Pulse Talk Radio. I will send you a special gift. So as my day began to unfold, and it's still doing it now, about this presentation, from waking up, coming back to the room, and hearing O.A.T.S. O.A.T.S. Name it Center of Light Meal. And I said, okay, all right, I'll do it. And I watched this whole day magically, like Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious, simply manifest. So tonight is Center of Light Meal, O.A.T.S. O.A.T.S has been broken down into an acronym: opportunity, abundance, transformation to soul. O.A.T.S. So I decided, you know me, I'm a wordsmith. I love definitions. I love looking up the meaning of words, because you can't argue with a definition. You try, you'll look like a fool. It doesn't work. It is the said source principle of language. In other words, if I say the word scissors, things to cut with, things to stab with, things to whatever with, everybody says, I understand, it's scissors. So let's cut through the bullshit and listen to the definitions of our beautiful language. And it talks about the difference between food and meal. Food. Tonight is Center of Light Meal. But the difference between food and meal. And Kim Gary says, you need to go sow your wild oats. I love it. All right, moving forward. What? Center of Light Meal. Oats, the staple of life, right? Quaker state. Well, that's your motor oil. But what defines a meal? I can feel this is going to be such a nice, delicious meal, spiritual presentation package when I get done with this all from tonight. What defines a meal? An act or the time of eating a portion of food to satisfy appetite. The portion of food eaten at a meal. Yes, and Kim just so happens to put in nutrition. Not only nutrition. That which nourishes us when we see the opportunity to move into abundance, which creates a transformation all the way to the soul, or rather the soul outward to the corporeal or the external world self. This is all going to deliciously marry in a minute and have a few children at that, 2.5. What is the difference between food and a meal? Food is anything you eat. All the nonsense on TV, paying attention to the ridiculousness in the world, reading a good book, eating good food, hanging out with beautiful people. This is all food. We're taking in food. So what is the difference between food and a meal? Food is anything you eat, anything you take in. A meal is a single food or a collection of foods, basically becoming conscious. I'm making a decision on what I'm bringing in. A meal is any single food or collection of foods that you eat and consider it to be a specific event. A dish is usually made up of several different foods and might be just one part of a bigger meal. One part, we are all one part of a bigger meal. Corn meal, flour meal, wheat meal. So a question I could pose is simply this. Are you eating food or are you having a meal? We have all heard the saying, I'm going to treat myself to a good meal. Follow me. So tonight is Center of Light meal. I'm not just taking in food and taking in information. I'm hungry and I need a quick bite of food. I get that. But I'm going to be hanging out with some friends tonight, some Quakers, some Shakers, and some Quakers and some Makers. And I'm going to invite friends over. And we're not just hang out, just eat food. We're going to have a meal. It's going to be an event, a celebratory experience. A Thanksgiving, if you will. Isn't that delicious in and of itself? Quaker, how this all just came together today. Center of Light oats. I woke up to talk about oats. Center of Light me. I'm like, what? And as I'm fashioning my banner, what best describes oats other than the icon we've always seen in our childhood and growing up, Quaker oats. So I decided to look up Quaker. And I was enlightened in a beautiful way. I was expanded on what a Quaker actually is. Ask yourself a simple question. You don't have to respond, you can. What do I think a Quaker is? Somebody who lives toward the north, east of the United States, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and all those places up there. And they got the beards, and they named their sons Jeremiah and Ezekiel. What's the other one? What's the famous one? Jebediah. But have you ever really explored their lifestyle and their, not belief, it is a belief, but they live in it very, very deeply, very thick. So they move beyond the belief table because they know that they are able for something greater. I've learned this today, and I was so just, wow. Puritans, Quakers, Shakers, conscious, deliberate makers. So let me share with you a little bit about what I've learned about Quakers. Wow, it's delicious. Believe it or not, you are a Quaker. No, Keith, I'm a Christian. You are still a Quaker because all Quakers are Christians. Well, Keith, I'm a Buddhist. You're still a Quaker. If you are a spiritual, religious person of any sort who is serious about your meal, what friends you are eating with, you are a Quaker. Don't be a mistaker. You are a Quaker. I'm curious to know who this anonymous person is. It says anonymous. Let me go look. Welcome to Center of Light. I'm going to show you some videos shortly. Hello, Martin Ali. Looking around. Summer Fusion. Robert Harrison. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I don't know why I'm seeing anonymous on the screen here, but when I go to the rooms, no one is named anonymous. Hence the point. They're anonymous. Duh. Keith, did it take you that long to get it? Somehow they're able to conceal themselves, to cloak themselves. I want to know your secret, my bro or sis. All right, so let me share with you what a Quaker is. How is this going to tie into the video that happened outside of my door? I don't know yet. That's the magic and the beauty of it. So we're gonna learn this together. I'm just paddling as hard as I can to try to make sense of this thing we call life. Hello, Dolores. Here we go. What is a Quaker? A mover and a shaker. And as Led Zeppelin would say, die a maker. Oh, 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 oh. You don't have to go. Oh, 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 oh. Ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom, ba-da-da-boom. Quaker means friends. Quaker means friends. What a great way to eat your food. To have a meal with friends. Quaker also means, okay, this is another excerpt. Quakers, also called Friends, belong to a historically Christian denomination known formally as the Religious Society of Friends. Members of the various Quaker movements are generally united by their belief in the ability of each human being to experientially access the light within. I get passionate when I do what I love. I'm all in this Quakerism, that of God in everyone. This is what Quakerism is about. Another find on Quaker. A member of the Religious Society of Friends, as I mentioned, and again, as I mentioned, a Christian movement founded by George Fox, the year 1650, and devoted to peaceful principles. Central to the Quakers' belief is the doctrine of inner light, or sense of Christ's direct working in the soul. Tonight is Center of Light meal, O.A.T.S. Opportunity, Abundant Transformation, Soul. Or senses of the Christ's direct working in the soul. This has led them to reject both formal ministry and all set forms of worship. What this is saying is, we are definitely Christian. In fact, we are probably more Christian than said Christians. What does that mean? It means that, hence the word, they had some running ins or some love together with the Puritans. What it means is they take the words of the Christ and the Buddha, it's the same energy, it's the same love, not only the way that fits our model, and we cherry pick. They take it very absolutely literal. I am in you, I am in my Father, and we are all brother and sister. And they're saying this is the inner light. This is what Quakerism is. And I was like, wow, I thought they were just very nice people who lived on the farm in the north, and they made a movie called Tin Pin with Randy Quaid and Woody Harrelson. That was my picture. Boy, was I wrong. So Quaker means friend or the religion of friends, the religion of tapping into the inner light. Wow. So I woke up this morning with the idea to do a presentation. Sure, I love presentations. I love having fun. O.A.T.S. Turn it into an acronym. What is O.A.T.S? What are O.A.T.S? O.A.T.S is a breakfast staple. It's a staple food. What better represents oats than the icon we grew up with, Quaker Oats? So I looked up the definition of Quaker, and now I sit in this chair with you to go to level 2 or session 2 or act 2 of this presentation. Center of light meal, O.A.T.S. Opportunity, abundance, transformation, soul. Take a short break, song break by Lavender Soul, speaking of soul. And then I'm going to come back and play you 4 videos. One is what happened outside of my door today. I don't want to give it away. I just want you to watch it. When I talk about falling into the fire, there's fire everywhere in here. Fire. You have to fall into the hellfire to acquire something higher. You're going to have to burn. Sorry. My condolences to you. You're going to have to burn. What you know as you is going to have to expire. It's called the rebirth of Christ. The unfoldment of the Buddha. The blossoming of the lotus flower. Transformation. The rising of the phoenix. It's gorgeous. I was hearing this sound outside of my door before I came on the air. I was like, what is that? I was about to get all in my tenant britches and call the landlord. No, I wasn't. I was just curious. So I grabbed my phone and I started filming. And what you're going to see is someone truly into the fire. I'm going to save that. I might be right back. Let's see what we're going to play tonight. How about Time for a Change? Time for a Change. India Feel, Lavender Soul, You Quaker You.
Surely as the rain may fall, I wonder why. Worried there'll come a time when my world is dry, oh so dry. In the summertime I won't have no water. The weight, it's a little bit harder to take. Lonely as I contemplate a billion stars, leaving my hands to fate. That's all I've got, all I've got. In the summertime, I won't have no water. Ooh, wait, it's a little bit harder to
Hello, all you sexy human creatures. Welcome to Center of Light. Right off the get-go, share this to you all. It may reach someone who is reaching for the golden ring just like you. What is the golden ring? It's not what you think. It is what you want. It may come through the guise of what you think it is. Instead of going for the superficial aspect of it, when you move to the deeper layer, that which is meaningful, the real reason, it becomes the season of your harvest. I want you to be a joyful, sexy, beautiful human being. You owe me nothing. Gina says, it's cool, Keith. You demand. We're going to get real. It's yours for the taking. We're all looking for bliss. Burst of light. I'm going to empower you. I'm going to get down to some beeswax, cosmic broham, oink, to say I love you. Flagship Mother Earth, this way. Inward is upward, and that is forward. Powerful. Any thought that you have that is not of the highest ideal contains self-sabotage. Ride, Captain, ride upon your mystery ship. I'm holding on because I'm scared to death of the changes that are happening in the world, the changes that are happening within me, but I'm living in the old world paradigm and I'm going nowhere. I'm bored out of my skull. That's called insanity. I'm already feeling it coming to every fiber of my being, though I have no idea about the future timeline of where this is going because I don't care. I just know that I am living in that joy in this moment, this way. In is the way out, where you are in your being, your experience. If you want joy, ecstasy, and peace beyond you've ever had in your being, because when you're inward, you don't need anything. And therefore, you have everything. Why would you believe anything
when you can know everything?
So now we went from this very tiny, minute little possibility of self to an explosion of infinite possibility in God. Metaphor for up. We always known God to be up. When we have these connections with spirit, then our life moves forward. Welcome to the Center of Light. Tonight, we're going to eat some food, y'all, but we're going to take it a step further. We're not going to just eat food. We're going to have a meal. We're going to make a meal. I deserve a good meal. We've all said that before. I'm going to treat myself to a good meal. Well, here's the deal. I woke up this morning, recap. First thing on my mind, on my heart is presentation. Okay. I just felt this all-consuming presence of an idea. Center of Light meal. Then I heard the word O.A.T.S. O.A.T.S. Turn it into an acronym. What can I get out of an acronym of the word O.A.T.S? Opportunity, abundance, which creates transformation, all the way from the soul, not to the soul, from the soul. And I had my 4 acronyms. So I'm going to build this presentation around that. Well, about 5:30 tonight, there's a ruckus, a commotion. Come on and do the love commotion with me. Locomotion with me. So I grabbed my phone and I recorded this. While you watch this short video that happened today, you can send me your thoughts. She's going to say about 6 or 7 words. If you would caption this video, what you think and the words she uses, the intention she is meaning. And then I'll share with you mine. Make sure I got everything on point. Here are my notes. I really don't prepare except in order of how I like to see things unfold. Here we go. So I'm now going to show you a video that happened today. A few days ago, someone made a meme or posted a picture-esque image meme on Facebook. I loved it immediately. The wordage is very simple, but it describes the video I'm shortly going to show you of what happened outside of my door. Here are the words. Take that in. Puts you in check. Puts me in check. Dear God, if you would please. That's begging. But what you're about to see is not begging at all. It's picking up the phone, cutting through the nonsense, and calling you divine parent. I like having fun. Have fun with me. And say, Mom, Dad, can I borrow the car tonight? And they say, when you're in this disposition, they immediately in fact, they have no choice but to say,
access granted.
Well, this video I'm about to show you, she's in it to win it. Caption this video from what you think her intention is. Check it out. searching.
Officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. He's officially bringing the great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap.
You're right, Kim Delaney. That is a meal in and of itself. And I'm going to play this again. The reason for it being, the reason for it being, you ever heard that expression? Well, the reason for it being is because now that you've gotten a taste or you had some food, I want you to have your meal. Notice, she just came out of an apartment, which is right across mine, and she got into the fire. She made her a delicious bowl of cereal, her morning breakfast, break fast. She's breaking fastly from the nonsense to immediately call to the great I am, bringing Jesus to the trap. Watch it from this point of view. You will notice she starts shaking. She is in it to win it. She starts shaking. Watch her legs. And then you hear someone behind her say, ma'am. She doesn't care. Why should she care? She's in the fire. In fact, she don't even hear that person. She just knows the Spirit said, all right, you complete. And she almost militarily salutes, because when she's like this and she's in the garden, she stops, she turns, puts her hands to her side, and walks to the door. Her door, Christ, the door, bringing Jesus to the trap. Watch it from this perspective, and another thing is going to happen inside of it. Happens inside of me. Today, I was laughing and crying at the same time to be a part of this beautiful, a part of this center of light meal. O.A.T.S. Opportunity, abundance, transformation, soul. Watch it again. Take it in again. Don't watch it again. Watch it. Listen. Be with it. She is no joke. She is serious in this fire. Doesn't give a what anyone thinks. Check it out.
Officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. He's officially bringing the great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. Yeah.
That is the fire. So if you would, caption that video. Tell me, if you would, if you want to play, what she might be saying in her intention. And bring Jesus to the trap. The great I am, officially. The great I am, bringing Jesus to the trap. I love it. She's serious about that. She wants some more mayo on her sandwich. This is what I think, or at least it feels like to me. Please share yours. I would love to know what you got from her intention. Her intention for me is though we all heard what she said. For me, her intention is this. I am calling to you, and there is nothing that will stand in our way. I am calling out to you. In fact, she's mimicking the position of her Lord, Christ. I am calling out to you, and there's nothing that will stand in my way. It is official. The great I am is calling Jesus to the, bringing Jesus to the trap. Usually when somebody calls your name, hey Keith, hey Kim Delaney, hey Robert, hello Elaine, you turn your head. Someone behind her said, ma'am. She didn't ignore the person. She wasn't in that reality at all. At all. So now we're going to go to the other 3 videos I promised I would share. I hope to, the great I am, let's bring Jesus to the trap, that I don't get a rap on my bump side. I'm not trying to impinge or infringe or go against copyright. I want to share people's work. I found this on Facebook, and I've learned that Facebook, if you share on Facebook, you really don't get a panking on your media hiney. But if it shuts down, it shuts down. And then I will send you the videos if you ask. It should not, which should be good. But I want you to pay attention to video number 2. The first video is going to be called, let's see what we have. I think it's How Quakerism Began. The second one, they're all, pay attention to all of them. The second one is truly going to describe in Quakerism, the religion of friends. Again, I'm going to say this on purpose. Video number 2, really hyper focus on what the gentleman describes what real Quakerism prayer is. And when you really get what I'm intending for you to get, you will see that woman going about what prayer is, as Osho said. And what Osho said about prayer is, whatever you do when you pray, simply make sure that you that's what that woman was doing. She wasn't praying like a beggar. Please give me something. She's in love. And you can't try to persuade one of your friends from getting out of a relationship. See how that goes. She's in love. So that person yakking behind her does not exist. Ma'am, stop your relationship. She's like, she's in the garden. So now I'm going to play you some videos. Again, hyper listen to video number 2 about how it relates to that woman I just showed in my outside of my door today in her prayer as a lover and not a beggar. Let's see if I can do this right. I have 3 videos. I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Welcome to Center of Light, Homecoming, Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, my 30-year experience with Spirit thus far. A lot to go. The link to the bestseller is in the forum, and I will see you shortly. Quakerism.
Quakerism started as part of the English Civil War period, 1640s. There were a variety of movements during the Civil War period that were seeking to address some of the disparities in English society, ecclesiastical, political, economic, and some of those groups were diggers, levelers, Muggletonians, Fifth Monarchists, seekers groups, some that were trying to seek reform within the church, the Puritans, some who had given up on the church as a dead corpse and left and started their own chapels or conventicles. And Quakerism emerged out of that chaotic social, political, religious time. And George Fox was one of the leaders of that movement, but he wasn't alone in that, but has become a major figure in understanding the origins of Quakerism. He became tired of what he saw as hypocrisy in the church of his youth, and about the age of 19, he left the church, started wandering about, seeking a direct spiritual experience that spoke to his condition. And he didn't find it in any of the outward forms, didn't find it in any of the clergy of the time, didn't find it in other authorities. 1647, he had an experience in which he heard a voice telling him, "There's one, even Christ Jesus, who can speak to thy condition." And when I heard it, my heart did leap for joy, which in contemporary expressions would probably be what he was seeking outside of himself as authority, he found was available to himself within. And he then started sharing that message, that what you're seeking outside of yourself is available inside of yourself. And you can turn to that inner teacher, that prophet, priest, king, redeemer, Lord within, and be led into salvation and truth. Quakerism spread from the initial insights of Fox and others who came out of this gumbo of seeking reform in the Church of England in the 1640s and 50s. Initially by word of mouth, they would share their experience. Fox, for example, would go about the countryside, sharing his understanding of the fact that Christ had come to teach the people directly and direct them inwardly to God, to Christ as their teacher and priest. Sometimes he would speak to larger gatherings, but it wasn't until about 1652 that there were larger numbers of people who came to hear his message. Those folk then shared the message with others. Pretty soon they started going out two by two, sharing the gospel message, and people came into convincement. By the time Fox died in 1691, there were some 50,000 Quakers. So in 40 or 50 years, it spread, much of that coming out of that social milieu of protest and the seeking of reform. And it really was, one by one by one.
All right, this is the one I want you to pay attention to.
I'm quite popular of letting go of outward words and of our thoughts and imaginations, and of centering down into an inward place of silence where we can wait and notice the movements of God within us. I'm David Johnson. I live in North Queensland, far North Queensland, Australia. I'm part of a small worshipping group. My monthly meeting is Queensland Regional Meeting. I've written many small pieces in Australia, but the two main things I've done recently are to collate with some of my own comments many quotes on Quaker prayer from the first and second generation Quakers. There's a difference here between an outward prayer of a known prayer or a liturgy, which for some people, and I've used it myself, is a very helpful anchor. when I first kneel by a bed or when I first sit down to say a prayer. It's a very helpful anchor and an introduction. But that is different to the prayer which emanates from the heart. And the early Quaker William Penn identified his own experience when he said that true prayer can only come from a heart prepared by God. So our Quaker prayer life is one of the inheritors of this very ancient, very natural contemplative practice. We can see this practice coming down in many strands. We can see it in the mindful breathing in the Buddhist faith. We can see it in the constant invoking of the name of God in the Orthodox Christian faith. We can see it in a similar way in the Sufi faith. And the Quaker prayer life for me is a way of going inward, using normally one of these practices as an entry point, using deep breathing, using the saying, repetitive saying of a sacred word, so that my attentiveness moves from up in here gradually and sinks down into here, where I'm enabled. I don't actually do it. I'm actually enabled to give up my own willing, give up my own running of my own mind, sinking down, breathing down, centering down into where the Spirit of God is present in the heart, and where the presence of God can actually minister to me, convey things to me that I then have a choice about. So the first step as we go inward, which is identified in the Quaker prayer life, is actually being very attentive inwardly in the heart to the light and the movements there. What the early Quakers called mind the light, be attentive to it. The second step, when the light shows us something, is actually to welcome it. What George Fox, the early Quaker, called love the light, no matter what it shows you. Because the light is showing parts of you that may be in error, what others call sin, so that it may be remedied and you may become purer in heart. And that's my experience, that when I welcome those signs, and they come quite often, that I was out of line spiritually. Once I welcome those and sit with them, the light shows me some reparation, or there is some healing. There is some reconciling going on towards peace within me. The Quaker experience is that as we continue that letting go of outward forms and just sinking inward, we find we're being helped. Something is actually working with us. Now we can call that a grace, we can call that the presence of the light or of Christ, and there are many, or another word for it is the anointing within us, comes to help us in this path. And as we do this, we find that it gradually goes deeper and starts to take hold of us. We begin to let go of those expectations. We begin to find eventually, for small times at first, and then for longer ones, that deep silence is actually accessible to every one of us, and that it is actually, even though we don't hear anything, we begin to realise that the first language of God is actually silence. And when we're sitting there, we come out of that space with a feeling of inordinate refreshment inwardly. And the normal and natural response within that is typically a breathings from the heart of gratitude and joy.
And so I think what has changed for me since becoming a Quaker, before being a Quaker, I hated war. I was anti-war, but I didn't really understand peace. And so I think what has changed for me since becoming a Quaker is I also have an understanding that peace starts within me. My name is Anthony Manousis. I'm a member of Orange Grove Meeting here in Pasadena. I am currently a Quaker peace activist, retired. I used to be an editor for Quaker magazine and a college professor and a coordinator for a youth program for the Quakers. But I feel so blessed that I can be full-time doing peace activism on behalf of Quakers. We have a world that is out of balance, and we have a world where people are suffering, where there's injustice, and for me to be a Quaker peace activist means to be part of a movement to restore wholeness. And for me, it starts with meeting for worship, where I center down and I experience a sense of something greater than myself, a sense of the divine, and also I feel more aware of sometimes the conflicts in my own life or sometimes the conflicts in the world. And in that place of silence and that feeling of connectedness, I sometimes receive guidance in how I can become an instrument of that peace. Our Quaker testimony on peace goes back to the very earliest days when, unfortunately, Christians were killing each other, millions of them, over doctrinal differences. And the Quakers were a group of Christians who felt that they could not and would not kill anyone for any reason, but certainly not for the sake of religion. And so they had a peace testimony in 1660 in which they said that they would be a peaceable people. And that's been our testimony for the last 350 some years. To be a peaceable people doesn't mean you never have conflicts. And that's actually something that I have learned through sometimes challenging experiences. The Quakers are just like everyone else. We have conflicts, sometimes bitter conflicts. And what we have, I think, are tools to resolve those conflicts that help us to, when we're at our best, not sweep them under the rug, but to really deal with them. And we have things like clearness committees where if we have a conflict with an individual, we can sit down with that individual and several other people in the spirit of worship and really listen to each other and to try to work through the conflicts that we have. I have learned a lot about compassionate listening, and that's one of the best tools for peacemaking, and because it builds trust and it helps us to really hear each other's stories. And I think that's the essence of our Quaker peacemaking process, is compassionate listening. To be a peaceable people on a global scale means that we recognize that we are one human family, and to celebrate our diversity and to recognize and affirm our unity at the same time. It means that we acknowledge that we have hurts and wounds from the past and conflicts. At the same time, we are confident that we can resolve those conflicts in a way to make it a better world.
So everything I presented tonight looks like this.
Officially bringing Jesus to the track. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the track. He's officially bringing the great I am. Is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap. The great I am is officially bringing Jesus to the trap.
So I guess that's how the story goes. I woke up this morning, heard O.A.T.S, meal, center of light meal. I always change the last word. Center of light this, center of light that, but today was center of light meal. There's a big difference between food and having a meal. I deserve a good meal. Well, that lady was eating the greatest vegetarian meal, or if you're a carnivore, the greatest ribeye steak cooked so perfectly, it's the best you've ever had. She was in that fire. And I was flabbergasted. She moved me higher. I was like, wow. She's not here to show off. She didn't give a crap what anyone thought. She was in it for herself. She knew what she was doing. Or even greater than that. Often, probably she didn't know what she was doing. She was taken beyond that to a place of being. She's in it. And at that point, guess what? This may upset you, but it's not intended to do. But it's asking you to realize what you're doing. In her fervent, correct prayer, not begging. I'm not praying because I'm begging. I'm praying because I'm a lover. She's not going anywhere. She's in it to win it. Anonymous, I wish I could see you, says going inwards since I can't see it. It's so small for me. She sets a new scale, a new standard. She's in it to win it. She doesn't care what people think. That very same blessing of when you pray, being on your knees is an act of humility, which is phenomenal. But you don't have to be on your knees to be in absolute humility. Just where you are becomes your altar, your prayer. Her prayer was one of love and not begging. So tonight was Center of Light meal. The difference between food and meal. We're hanging out, we're going to eat some food because we're hungry. But as a Quaker, which we all are, on some level or other, I'm going to ask some friends to come over because Quaker means friends. The religion of inner light and sharing life with friends. There's nothing else. I guess it depends on all of us. Bringing Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, your great-grandmother, bringing that which means anything at all to me, to the trap, to my situation that I don't feel so comfortable in. And such a way of being, like that woman, it's not about Jesus. Though she's declaring and calling to Jesus, it's not about Jesus. Sounds blaspheming, doesn't it? Basically, Jesus' presence on the earth says, it's time for you to grow up. And I'm here as your loving parent, the great I am, bringing Jesus to the trap. Who's Jesus? You are Jesus. The Christian, the Christ, the Buddha principle in you is bringing your own pure nature to the situation to rise above the situation. So it's not about Jesus. Though she's calling out to her deity, her Lord, ultimately, it comes simply about her calling out, calling in, falling in. That's the deal. That is the ultimate deal. That when you look in the mirror, the most beautiful thing you will ever see, ever created, just like you. Tall, short, fat, thin, broke, rich, whatever. That's the superficial. The real prayer is, like Dolores said on YouTube, it's not about being this, it's about being done. I'm done. There's nothing in the way. There's all there. I am connected to my divine parent so perfectly. In my own imperfection, I am perfect. You sexy Quaker, you, Jebediah, aspire to higher, and it requires nothing from you except for you to be fully what you are due, which is simply Yanava. Your beautiful, sexy, divine human self. You're loved beyond measure.